Yeah, it's time for Cup of Tech Gumbo. Time to welcome in Haggai Davis. What's happening, man?
Oh, just enjoying an early June morning.
Bro, it's muggy.
Yeah, did we skipped March, April, and May?
Mm-hmm.
Went
Yeah.
straight into summer?
Yeah. I think we skipped March and April. I think today will be about a good May type of day right there. This is a good, late conference schedule at the box.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I try not to vocalize out loud getting to June because June would be the beginning of hurricane season, and that just means the end of my life. So, anyway. All right. We got a lot to talk about today, and there's no way we don't start with Section 230 because there's a lot of movement right now. The people who need to make decisions on this say we're totally not equipped to. The U.S. Supreme Court can make some pretty drastic changes to the internet. What are we looking at?
So the Supreme Court this week, and again, I'm not an attorney. We've established that very well, but I can read the box scores and tell you what happened in a baseball game as well.
Absolutely.
Without being a baseball player. They heard two cases this week. One of them is Twitter versus Tamna or something like
Tamna?
that.
Yeah, or Tomna. It's two A's in a row. Don't put two A's in a row.
And then there was another case against YouTube. And this is both cases are having to deal with Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996.
Yes.
One was about a search algorithm in YouTube, and this person became radicalized because of what they were seeing on YouTube, and YouTube didn't take it off. And so the argument was the search algorithms is what led them, as opposed to they were looking for that kind of information, and the search algorithm gave it to them.
Yeah.
And then the other one was also not quite as easy to put together, but it was basically trying to say that the Section 230, Gonzalez versus Google was the name of the case, and it's about also another ISIS-related incident and everything. The Supreme Court could go in and strike down Section 230, basically.
Okay.
They're not going to.
No.
There's no way these 9 people are going to say, we're done with the internet, and all search engines and all, like, Amazons and Facebooks and Twitter and everything goes away because Section 230 doesn't work.
Right.
So it's not going to happen. The whole point of talking about these was what if? What if the Supreme Court, these 9 unelected people, decided, oh, you know what? Let's just go ahead and blow up the internet.
So, but the conversation needs to be had, though, because 230 in its current existence or in its current state is not sufficient.
It's not, and yet trying to make it make the changes in it, because Section 230 is the basis of what has allowed the internet to be what it is today. If you do away with Section 230, you're basically doing away with all e-commerce.
Yeah.
Because all e-commerce is right now algorithm based. Here's what you're looking for. You know, unless you want to go back to 1995 when you got on the internet and you had to go straight to somebody's website, as opposed to going to Amazon and saying, hey, I'm looking for a widget, and here's the 15 different widgets or the 1,500 widgets you might be looking for.
But, okay, going straight to somebody's website in 1995 did not get anything, like, it wasn't as simple as it is today. You had to deal with,
oh, absolutely.
You had to dial up. It took half an hour.
Yes.
If you wanted to burn a CD off of Napster, that took out your entire weekend.
I'm not purporting that we go back to 1995.
Okay.
But that's what would happen if you blew up Section 230 in the.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is with the speed and access we have today, reverting back to 1995 wouldn't look like 1995 did.
No, well, it would just be faster, but it would still be the same effort of having to try and figure out where you're going, as opposed to having all these search engines show you all the different options.
Okay, would that be a bad thing?
Well, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. I mean, think about all the commerce around the world that gets transacted because of these search algorithms.
Yes.
You do away with all that commerce.
Google tells you who you're buying from. You don't determine who you're buying from.
As does Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, and so.
But I don't see a scenario where if 230 goes away today, I wake up tomorrow and forget who Amazon is.
But see, that's just, you can't use Amazon. Amazon is all about the algorithms that gives them protection by Section 230.
So if 230 goes away, I can't type in www.amazon.com.
You can type it in, but there's not going to be anything there. You're going to have to go into Amazon and say, okay, I want to buy this book from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because you're not going to be able to say, look, give me all of the spy novels. I'm looking for a spy novel to download at Amazon. And then have it, here's the 15 million spy novels that it could. You're going to say, I'm looking for Hunt for the Red October.
Right.
I want to buy that.
Yes.
And that's it.
So basically the scenario you're spelling out is we've become so dependent on our computers to think for us.
Yes.
That we don't have the capability of reverting back to saying, yeah, I'd like a copy of Hunt for October. I'm going to go and get Hunt for October without having.
The same thing with Netflix, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you, instead of, saying, hey, Netflix, give me, I'm looking for the movie, The Hunt for Red October,
mm-hmm.
where Netflix now says, here's the 15 movies that we think you're going to like because of all of the other movies that you've been watching.
Yes.
That goes away.
Okay, we're going to have to walk down the why that goes away. Why wouldn't Amazon be able to do that? Why wouldn't Netflix be able to because they can still develop algorithms without having bureaucracy. 230 is bureaucracy.
No, just Section 230 allows them to be the bookstore instead of the book distributor.
All right, we're going to have to pick this up in a minute because we're due up for a break. And this isn't the only one that I want to talk about when it comes to the Supreme Court in 230, because props to the Supreme Court for coming out and saying they are not the best choice to decide the future of the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to dive into that a little bit as well. He's Haggai Davis. We do a cup of tech gumbo about this time every Friday. That will continue next on Talk 107.3 FM at 646. Okay. 230 allows them, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If 230 goes away, what stops them?
Lawsuits. The liability that you gave. If Amazon says you should go here's some options that you may like. Well, why didn't you give me that one though?
I used to work at Blockbuster, and I'm gonna walk down this specific path when we come back. I used to work at Blockbuster,
mm-hmm.
and we had an employees recommendation section. I never had a filmmaker walk into Blockbuster and sue me for recommending Dazed and Confused.
And they probably should have.
Classic.
It's a classic bad movie, yes.
It's just such a generational gap.
You're right, but you're doing it on such a micro level there. That's just human interaction. That's
sure.
not algorithms pushing.
And what I'm saying is, without the regulation, there is no law saying they can't.
But there's no protection that says that they can. So if you go out there, if you take the liable risk,
mm-hmm.
if you're going to put your business at risk, that you're going to provide any kind of content that may trigger something, and the lawsuits that are going to fall, there's not enough lawyers in the world to handle all of the lawsuits that are going to be thrown at all of these big companies with all these big deep pockets,
mm-hmm.
and so they're all going to go, oh, never mind, we're done, I'm out.
So it's not the action, and it's not the intent behind the action. It's the scale of the action.
Yes, and so
I don't know that the Supreme Court's going to see it that way.
The Supreme Court's going to run from this. They're not going to touch this with a 30-foot pole. So the lower courts had already decided in favor of Twitter and in favor of YouTube,
mm-hmm.
and so the Supreme Court is going to sit there and say, like Justice Kagan said, We're not the best, Steve. We're nine knuckleheads. What the hell do we know about the internet?
Right.
So we're punting. I mean,
Which is the right call.
which is exactly. But
No, hang on. It's the right call until you realize it's going to get kicked over to the legislature to rewrite the law, and at that point, you're going to be dealing with even bigger knuckleheads
no,
who have to answer to people.
because the legislature, the Congress, is not going to do anything because they can't agree on the time of day.
Right.
So there's no way they're going to do anything that's going to turn over Section 230. You're more likely to have this fire up the conversation about data privacy rights, but not about Section 230. I don't see Section 230 getting touched for 10 years from now. We're going to go back and say, God, you remember in 2023, we had a chance, we could have, and we're not going to.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, if to overturn 230, just the ability, the idea that we could do anything like that, the ramifications, we're not ready for that. We're not ready for this whole AI. And I'm glad we're not talking about that today, but I just.
The AI and deepfakes? That was
That's another one.
next.
Yeah. I mean,
if we get through the 230 and the Supreme Court punting, which I don't think we will, but if we do.
Galen says all businesses have the threat of lawsuits. It just keeps the guys honest. But that's the difference, though. If there's the difference between threats of lawsuits and then having piles of lawsuits actually happen.
So Section 230 may just be staving off the inevitable. At some point, this has to come around. Because if I go on Amazon and I buy The Hunt for Red October, and the next time I go on Amazon, they say, you might like other Tom Clancy novels.
Right.
That's not, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. Because Section 230 says, based upon what you're looking for, we're going to find other things that, but if they come back and say, you like the Hunt for Red October, here's Mein Kampf. I mean, some ridiculous example like that, or something really way off the base. And now the search algorithms and Amazon's algorithms would never do that. But if they provided you with something that is going to trigger you, if there's going to, you might like these ISIS things because you like to hunt Red October, and then you become radicalized, which happened in this case, and they sued.
This is walking up to a point where I wanted to bring into the conversation, but was actually scared to. But I think we might have to. When cars were first invented, you didn't have to have a driver's license.
Right.
Eventually, it got to the point where we said, you know what? You need a license to operate this.
Yeah.
Is that where the internet's going?
You have to have a license to get onto the internet, or to
operate the internet?
No, because for the same reason you don't have to have a license to make a baby.
Well, that's a whole other discussion. Yeah. That brings us right back around to Mein Kampf.
I was going to say, that's sounding a little...
Didn't it, though?
I was like, then I was going to get called conspiracy theorist.
652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, 71 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Cup of Tech Gumbo as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're talking about Section 230 and how it's allowing Amazon to offer recommendations. It's allowing businesses to operate on the internet. We're walking down the path of, if Section 230 went away, why wouldn't businesses just be able to develop their own algorithms to make their own recommendations to get us eventually back to the point where we are now, just without all the excess bureaucracy?
Because Section 230 is what allows these companies to utilize search algorithms.
Before Section 230, was it illegal to utilize search algorithms?
No, but we didn't really have all that capability to do things like that. We didn't have the computer processing power, and there was America Online and Prodigy and those, and they had some basic level of search engine, but it was nowhere near complex enough to do what the modern day search engines are doing for us. And so if I mean, Google scores used to be, when you was Google something, it was based upon how many clicks or how many web hits different websites used to get. Now it's much more about the content of, and not how many people have visited or how many hyperlinks
Mhm.
were on a website. That's what Google scores used to be based upon.
We were talking. You mentioned the Hunt for Red October. Okay, so if I go in and I order the Hunt for Red October,
Mm.
the next time I hop on Amazon, what would stop Amazon without 230? What would stop Amazon from saying here are other Tom Clancy novels?
There isn't anything to stop them from doing that, because based upon your record of what you've done in the past, here's you like Tom Clancy novels. Here's more Tom Clancy novels.
Right, but you were saying the flood of lawsuits.
Is if they say, instead of, hey, you liked Tom Clancy novels, now what about these novels written by
John Grisham.
John Grisham, and in let's say Grisham was some kind of reckless author who inspired ISIS or something like that.
Okay.
Now that algorithm, which was really broken and did something stupid, but it gave you information to push you in a direction you weren't comfortable
Now
with.
this walks us up to the internet can push me wherever it wants to push me. It's a matter of whether or not I want to go that way. That's up to the operator. That's up to the user
And
to
that's-
determine if they're going to follow that.
And that's more, my guess is that's what the Supreme Court is going to say. Look, these people were free to go to Twitter. They were free to go to YouTube and watch and do the things that they were doing. That's on them, not on these companies that providing content.
Now, if the lawsuit's going to say that the internet pushed me to do it, then that's saying that I don't have the capability as in my own individual to determine my own path here. I could be forced down this particular path just by a suggestion online. Haggai, when cars were first invented, you didn't need a driver's license to get behind the wheel of a car. But then we determined you needed certain capabilities, and it's for everybody's betterment that you have a license to do so. Is there a world in which we could walk out the other side of this saying you have to have a license to operate the internet? If you could be so easily led down the wrong path, is there a world in which you'd have to pass a test to get online?
I don't think so. It just, for the same reason you don't have to have a license to be alive. You don't have to have a license to go on on a date or something like that, or start a family. You just have to want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet is going to be the same thing. It's to operate. You have to have a license to be a doctor to go in and do surgery, because you have to have been trained to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a license or be trained to get on the internet. One would hope somebody would take some time and show you how to be safe on the internet somewhere along the way, but that doesn't happen that way.
The Supreme Court, which I really, really enjoyed this next article, has shown unusual self-awareness in addressing Section 230 and said that since they aren't even close to being internet experts, deciding the future of the web should probably be done by Congress. Love the self-awareness by the Supreme Court. What's the likelihood that we see the same self-awareness by Congress?
Oh, what's the likelihood of winning the lottery?
Slightly better than this.
I think it is, because Congress, they can't agree on the time of day. They can't agree on anything. And with the razor thin margins between the conservatives, the Republicans, and Democrats, and there's very unlikely that they're ever going to go after something that's controversial, because both sides hate Section 230.
Right.
The political right and the political left, both, but they hate it for different reasons.
Yeah.
And so to get them to say, okay, let's change through 230, well, the right's going to say, well, we want to change it for this purpose, and the left wants to change it. No, we want to change it for that purpose. But they're not going to agree to change 230 anytime soon.
So what's next then? I mean, we just keep limping along rather than fix what's broken?
Yes, unfortunately, I don't see a world where we can go in and change Section 230 so that you don't just radically change everything on the internet. It's going to have to evolve over time because that's how we do things in society. We change with generations, not flip a switch
Yeah.
to change things. And to flip a switch and change the way I mean, you go to AI's chat Bing and chat GPT and or Google, or you're trying to do any searches right now, and these algorithms are going to look for all of the things that could be interesting or could be related. If you do away with that, you're just going to change the internet. I mean, you're going to, but people aren't ready for that kind of change.
But it's like having a baby. You're never ready.
But you have 9 months to build up to it.
Sure, and we will as well.
No, you won't.
Yes.
Because if you take people's ability to go to Google and find out how fast a cheetah runs instead of remembering your fifth grade science, it's going to where we've evolved is not going to allow us to change anytime soon.
Frustrating. What else is coming up on the show this week? We got like 15 seconds.
Oh, we're going to do a big dive into electric vehicles and tax credits and what are the three different types of electric vehicles, including the plug-in hybrid electric, which gets 94 miles a gallon.
Yeah, but the cord's got to be 94 miles long. He's Haggai Dave. You should catch it Saturday. Tech Gumbo Saturday and Sunday at 4 right here on Talk 107.3. Here's ABC News. Stupid one off. That was a dumb joke. That was
a good line.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm all about the wild. Let's go wild west, man. Let's just rip off the damn Band-Aid and start fresh again. Knowing what we know now, we can go back in time to redraft everything.
Okay. Here, just 30 minutes ago, we were talking about, this guy doing the research on the shutdowns, what COVID did to the economy.
Yeah.
You do away with Section 230, and you can take what happened over the past 3 years and multiply that by about 1,000.
But don't remove Section 230. You're not removing commerce.
Not commerce. Yeah, I can still walk down. I can go to the mall and buy things, but I can't. I can't go to Amazon. I mean, think about all the jobs. How much do you buy from Amazon right now?
Not as much as a lot of people, but your point's taken.
I mean, I know we buy a lot of stuff at Amazon.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, and as opposed to, I don't want to go to the mall. I don't want to go to Walmart or Target. I just want.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that thing, and I'm okay if I get it 2 days from now.
My thing is, 230 did not build the algorithms.
It gave cover to build the algorithms. And so if you
I
take
tell you
away
where I'm getting lost here. Is look at the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
We are endowed by our Creator. Same thing here. We're not endowed by 230. They could do whatever the F they want with or without 230. What I'm saying is if you're going to have a class action lawsuit, because if you recommend Tom Clancy novels, John Grisham wants to sue.
If you go back in time to 1996 and you don't pass that Telecom Act with Section 230 in it, we don't have the internet today that we have.
Why not?
Because you're not going to have built the search engines. You're not going to have built the social media platforms. You're not going to have built anything that's going to allow the connectivity to find the information that you can.
But all that stuff is now built. It's
But you're going to have to unbuild it.
Why?
Because the protections that Section 230 gives to these companies allows them to, here's the store, come on in and shop.
Yeah.
If you say, no, you can't come in and shop anymore.
But you're not saying that. All you're doing is removing. Let everybody continue to operate where they're operating right now. You just don't have the.
But see, okay, if you go into Amazon.com, you're going to endlessly scroll looking for things in Amazon. You're not going to say, I'm looking for the, whatever you call that little.
The way this is translating makes it sound like we lose the technology to do it. As opposed to the bureaucracy and restrictions that are put in by it.
We lose the search algorithms. Section 230 is what allowed all of the search algorithms to explode to where we are. Because search algorithms are in everything we do on the internet. Everything we do on the internet is based upon search algorithms. And so if you get rid of search algorithms,
I'm not understanding it. There's a block somewhere in my brain.
it's because this is a very, very complex issue that is on a million levels deep.
Yeah.
And we're scratching level 2 on that million level deep.
Yeah.
And so
let's get a look at that forecast. Here is WBRZ meteorologist Marissa Nuzzo.